I'm Nancy Bonges. I'm head of community engagement at William Blair. For those who may not know, William Blair is a financial services firm that is completely employee-owned with a global presence, and we are headquartered in Chicago. And our mission is to empower colleagues to deliver client success and engage in our communities. Our firm was founded 90 years ago in the great city of Chicago. That's right, I hear some Chicagoans in the house. Also where I was born and raised. And it is also where you may have heard Pope Leo is from. This is a photo of him at the White Sox World Series game, which some have deemed as his first miracle. Now, we're not here to talk about divine intervention, but my goodness, sometimes we feel like we need it, right? But we are here to talk about transforming perceptions. Carol Dweck is a psychologist and author, and in her book Mindset, she tells the story of Betty Edwards, an artist who leads a 5-day workshop, and her bold promise is, I can teach anyone to become an artist in 5 days. You see, most people, when they think about becoming an artist or drawing, they think it's some innate talent that you're born with. But she challenges that. She said, actually, it's not a gift about how to draw, but it's a gift about seeing, and it's something that can be learned. And so what she challenges her students in 5 days is to see things, to perceive the edges, the spaces, the lights, the shadows. So this is day 1, her student's self-portrait. See what happens on day 5. Impressive. 5 days by just paying attention and perceiving the lights, the shadows. I'm going to now tell you a story of how shifting perceptions transformed a life. 3 years ago, I met Sabrina. I'll call her, that's not her real name, but I will call her Sabrina. She is a domestic violence survivor who had recently escaped an abusive marriage. And I met her at a local DV shelter where I'd volunteered for several years. And she had escaped this abusive situation with 2 young daughters. And her daughters would often ask her at 4 a.m., Mommy, can you please drop us off at school? Because that was the only place where they felt safe. At that time, I had a newborn and a toddler, and I really just needed some help in maintaining our home. And so I asked the shelter, hey, do you have anyone that's open to work? And they immediately recommended Sabrina because she had this incredible work ethic, but she just needed to work on her self-confidence. I'll never forget her first day in our home. She spent a full 4 hours in one small room. I promise you it was not that dirty, I swear. But it was because she really needed this to work, and she was scrubbing every inch, including the baseboards and the walls. And I tried to explain that she didn't have to do all that, but her English was very limited. And by the way, she also, because of her abuser, had no formal work experience. And so later that day, she went back to her case manager, convinced that I would never ask her back. But I could have been perhaps someone that perceived her limited English skills or her lack of work experience and just written her off. But I saw her unwavering commitment to build a better life for herself and her daughters. And so I know that she had this unlimited potential. What we ended up doing is we hired a bilingual cleaning professional to train her. We reached out to our friends, people that we knew would treat her with the dignity and respect that she deserved. And she started cleaning our homes and over time slowly building her confidence. But there were ups and downs. Sometimes when she took 20 minutes longer than planned, she would refuse to accept payment. And my friends would chase me with their checks saying, can you please convince her to accept payment? And so it was this journey, but she showed up to the classes at her DV shelter program. She showed up to therapy. She put her daughters in therapy. And after 2 years, she finally reached a level of independence and financial security to move out into her own place, the first time for her and her daughters. Yeah. I'll tell you about one organization that I then reached out to. It's called Digs with Dignity. And what this nonprofit does is helps families emerging from homelessness. But what they do is they challenge this perception that doing something charitable is just giving them something free and you walk away. What they do instead is they focus on creating this home with dignity, with care, with beauty. And that's what they did for Sabrina. They asked her about her tastes, her favorite colors, about her daughter's interests. And so 15 of my colleagues, my friends, even my family members, that's my nephew right there, we came together to furnish her home because we knew that they deserved a place to call home and to be proud of. And this is what Digs with Dignity was able to do for her. And so we were just so proud. I always get a little bit emotional whenever I see this bedroom for her girls, that it was a place that they could call their own, where they can find their joy, where they could finally feel safe. So this is just one story, and I recently spoke with Sabrina, and she told me that she doesn't recognize herself, the confidence that she's built, the hope that she has for her future. This kind of transformation is a type of transformation that I hope to scale and that I know my firm, William Blair, hopes to scale. So let me talk about one example, our Capital Collective initiative. How we show up differently and the perceptions that we are challenging is this notion that financial literacy is enough. It's not enough. We expect more and we believe that there can be more. And so this is our wealth building initiatives where our employees can lean into doing good with what we're good at doing. And we believe that everyone, no matter where you're from or your background, that you can build wealth. We also recognize that for many entrepreneurs that they are over-mentored but undercapitalized. And so what we do is we think about ways to increase access to capital. We partner with Show Her the Money, a documentary that dives into why only 2% of venture capital, 2% of venture capital go to women founders. We're challenging this perception that only men can lead successful ventures. And we also last year launched our Capital Collective Fund. This fund helped launch for the YWCA a zero interest microloan program for their Breed Love Entrepreneurship Center. We're also partnering with First Women's Bank on a microloan program, for a pilot bridge grant program where a $10,000 grant can help someone meet the collateral or liquidity thresholds and unlock a $500,000 loan. These are just some small examples of ways in we have challenged ourselves and our perception of what philanthropy should look like. That it's not something that you just give for free and walk away, but we ask ourselves, how can we catalyze the potential that was always there? And so now we're about to hear from some incredible voices, and I want to ask this audience, what are some perceptions that need to shift or be challenged in your community, in your work, perhaps in yourselves? How can we embrace the beauty and the complexities in the things that have for far too long been seen as just things that are black and white? And so it is my pleasure to introduce a slate of wonderful leaders, incredible leaders and artists challenging status quo, uncovering new ways of seeing and speaking and hearing, and building new pathways of progress.